interrupting this desolate vlog channel with another tech review. I hope by now you've gathered that I really like tech, and I probably spend way more money than I should on it. While most of my purchases are met with immediate remorse, this one feels like I can justify. If you'd like to skip the story and move on straight to the review, go here. If you've watched my vlog at some point, you'll know that I got a new job, doing mostly the same thing, animation. No, not fun animation like Disney kind of animation, just boring, trying to sell you products kind of animation. Maybe one day I'll get around to doing some fun stuff. I do have some ideas that I'll likely never pursue. In any case, animation is quite an intensive task depending on what the project calls for. For a while, I've been using a PC that I've built, and that was working alright. Two things have pushed me into rethinking what tools I need to get the job done in the best way possible. First, my grandmother is back. Yes, if you watched maybe 1 or 2 vlogs ago, who would have thought she'd be back so soon after 5 months in Romania? Long story short, she's back, and because of that, my office is now her bedroom. I'll make a video about that eventually. Second, my 2018 MacBook Pro is basically a dinosaur now. It's not cutting it for the job anymore. After Effects is sluggish, and basically everything is feeling bogged up. While not terribly old, the type of work I'm doing now would benefit for some upgraded hardware. I also tend to like Mac OS for work. To give you an idea of what I'm upgrading from, my previous MacBook specs are here. If I remember correctly, this was one of the more powerful processors that you could get for the MacBook Pro. Honestly, it's been a good little workhorse. I just need something that can pack more of a punch if I'm going to spend 8 hours on a couch every day. For this reason, I went with the 14-inch MacBook Pro with Apple M1 Max 10-core CPU, 32-core GPU, and 16-core neural engine. It's got 64 gigs of RAM and 1TB SSD storage. The M1 Max is Apple's top-of-the-line chip. I'm not going to go into technical detail because there's far better YouTube videos out there explaining all the details, and plus I'm not smart enough to do that. What I can tell you, however, is that this laptop is a beast. To get the best performance out of programs I use, such as After Effects, I need a lot of RAM. Processing power is not as important, although still pretty important. RAM is what's really important for After Effects. At 64 gigabytes of RAM, I think this laptop has things covered. In regards to storage, I usually go with the smaller SSD. In this case, I accidentally selected 1TB. Quite an expensive mistake, but oh well. Now onto the hardware. TLDR, it's top notch. The 2021 MacBook Pros come with a chassis very reminiscent of the old MacBook Pros of the 2000s. The biggest differences from the last model are that they removed the touch bar, they re-added MagSafe, an HDMI port, and an SD card port. I could manage without all these things, but I'm pretty happy they re-added the SD card port. What am I going to do with all my dongles though? Moving on to the keyboard, it's black now. It's a little bit of a fingerprint magnet, but that may be because I have very sweaty palms. The newer keyboard is a lot more solid. I feel like the keys travel just a little bit more and they feel confident. Does that even make sense? Of course, I have to mention the screen. Everything looks crystal clear and the colors look great, something I admittedly don't know too much about. Yes, the screen does have a notch. I noticed Apple doesn't like to show it off, but I really think they should just embrace it. The notch is remarkably easy to forget about, and honestly, that's all I really have to say about it. Rather than moving all my junk from one MacBook Pro to the other, I decided to start fresh. So far, I haven't run into any compatibility issues going from an Intel Mac to an M1 Mac. Everything's been running extraordinarily well. I do wear headphones all the time, so maybe I'm just oblivious. The speakers, they sound warm and full. Solid if you're into that sort of thing. I don't have much else to say about the software. It feels extremely responsive. Even if you opt for a lower spec MacBook Pro or are coming from an Intel Mac, I think you'll feel a difference. Does it game? I have some smaller titles installed, and for the most part they perform really well. Unfortunately, a lot of AAA titles are just simply not made for Mac, so I can't test them out. I hope in the future that developers see the Mac as an option for gaming, but only time will tell for that. Fortunately, I do have a PC, so this MacBook Pro is really not going to be my primary gaming machine. In the box, you'll get a charging brick, a very nice braided USB-C to MagSafe cable, and some stickers. You'll be able to charge the MacBook Pro with a USB-C cable, but you'll get a much faster charge with MagSafe. Side note, the battery life is pretty good. I can get a day's worth of heavy work before I need to plug it in. Hi, it's me from the future. My camera just didn't record the last little bit of this video, so I'm here recording it again. Anyway, my MacBook Pro came out at around $3,700, which is an absolutely steep amount to pay for a computer. If you think you might need to upgrade, you probably already know who you are. If you're doing word processing or watching me on YouTube, you probably don't need this. You could probably get away with something a lot cheaper. There is a lot of places you could cut your costs, but that just might end up making you upgrade a little bit sooner. In conclusion, more money equals more power. If you're doing graphics heavy work such as motion design, 3D modeling, or video editing, this is probably a good upgrade. Even software development and music production would benefit from these upgraded specs. Overall, I'm really impressed with how much power this computer packs. Anyway, if you like this video, you should consider subscribing. If you didn't like the video, then you should still consider subscribing. You can spend your day hate watching me. I have a standing desk coming in next week, so I'm going to try to do a video about that. I also owe you guys an apartment tour. By the way, this is it. This is the bedroom now. I'll probably also do another just life update vlog soon, so there's a lot to look forward to if I, stop being lazy and get around to actually making the videos. Anyway, I guess we'll leave it at that. See ya.